Ethan's heart pounded with excitement as he carefully navigated the remote woodland trail, his keen eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of wildlife. As an experienced outdoorsman and amateur herpetologist, Ethan had always been fascinated by the diverse array of reptiles that called these woods home. Little did he know that today's hike would lead him to a discovery that would change his life forever. As he rounded a bend in the trail, Ethan suddenly froze in his tracks. There, basking in a patch of sunlight, was a sight he had never encountered before, a snake with what appeared to be a glittering diamond embedded in its head. Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be some sort of rare genetic mutation? A freak of nature? Or perhaps something altogether more extraordinary? But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. Driven by a burning curiosity and the tantalizing prospect of a once-in-a-lifetime find, Ethan knew he had to get a closer look. But he also knew that approaching the snake directly would be foolish and dangerous. Thinking quickly, Ethan rummaged through his backpack, assembling a makeshift snake trap using a long stick, some string, and a plastic container he had brought along for collecting samples. With the skill and patience of a seasoned outdoorsman, he carefully maneuvered the trap into position, holding his breath as he watched the snake's every move. To his amazement, the snake seemed almost docile, as if it were waiting for Ethan to make his move. With a swift, precise motion, Ethan triggered the trap, watching in awe as the snake was gently lifted off the ground and deposited safely into the container. Ethan's heart raced with excitement as he examined his catch up close. The diamond in the snake's head was even more breathtaking than he had imagined, sparkling with an otherworldly brilliance in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Carefully, Ethan removed the diamond from the snake's head, marveling at its flawless beauty and the way it seemed to pulse with an inner light. He knew that he had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary, a find that could change the course of his life forever. But Ethan was also a man of principle, and he knew that he could not keep the snake captive forever. With a gentle touch, he released the serpent back into the wild, watching as it slithered away into the undergrowth, its diamond-studded head now just a memory. With the diamond safely tucked away in his pocket, Ethan made his way back to civilization, his mind reeling with the implications of his discovery. He knew that he needed to have the diamond appraised by a professional, someone who could tell him just how rare and valuable his find truly was. And so, with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, Ethan found himself standing in the opulent showroom of the city's most renowned jeweler, the diamond clutched tightly in his hand. As he approached the counter, the jeweler looked up from his work, his eyes widening in surprise as he caught sight of the stone in Ethan's hand. "May I see that, please?" he asked, his voice trembling with barely contained excitement. Ethan handed over the diamond, watching as the jeweler examined it under a magnifying glass, his expression shifting from curiosity to shock to outright disbelief. "Where did you get this?" the jeweler asked, his face pale and his hands shaking slightly. "I've never seen anything like it in all my years in the business." Ethan took a deep breath, knowing that the story he was about to tell would sound almost too fantastic to be believed. But he also knew that he had to be honest to share the incredible tale of his adventure in the woods. As he spoke, the jeweler listened intently, his eyes never leaving the diamond in his hand. When Ethan finished his story, the jeweler sat back in his chair, a look of wonder and amazement on his face. "Do you have any idea what you found?" he asked, his voice hushed with reverence. "This isn't just a rare diamond. It's a legend, a stone that has been sought after by collectors and treasure hunters for centuries." Ethan felt a thrill of excitement run through him, but also a sense of unease. He had always been a man of simple tastes, content with his life in the outdoors. The thought of being thrust into the world of high-stakes gem trading and international intrigue was both exhilarating and terrifying. "The snake you caught," the jeweler continued, "is a species that has been rumored to exist for centuries, but has never been conclusively proven. It's said that these snakes are born with a diamond embedded in their heads, a stone that grows and develops along with the serpent over the course of its life. But to find one of these snakes, let alone capture it and remove the diamond, it's unheard of. The diamond itself is valuable beyond measure, but the snake, if you had brought it to me alive, it would have been worth 10 times as much." Ethan's heart sank as he realized the true value of what he had held in his hands. But at the same time, he knew that he could never have brought himself to keep the snake captive, to subject it to a life of confinement and exploitation. "I had to let it go," he said quietly, meeting the jeweler's gaze with a steady resolve. "It didn't belong to me, and it didn't belong in a cage. The jeweler nodded slowly, a glimmer of respect in his eyes. "You're a rare breed, Mr. Ethan," he said, his voice tinged with admiration. "Not many people would have had the strength of character to do what you did. But the diamond, it's yours, fair and square. And I can tell you now, it's going to change your life in ways you can't even imagine." Ethan left the jeweler's shop that day with a check in his pocket that had more zeros than he had ever seen before. But more than that, he left with a sense of purpose, a feeling that he had been chosen for something greater than himself. In the weeks and months that followed, Ethan found himself thrust into a world of wealth and influence, rubbing elbows with collectors and connoisseurs who would have given anything to possess the diamond that had once adorned the head of a legendary snake. But through it all, Ethan never lost sight of who he was or what truly mattered to him. He used his newfound wealth to fund conservation efforts, to protect the wild places that he loved and the creatures that called them home. And sometimes, late at night, he would find himself thinking back to that fateful day in the woods, to the moment when he had held the impossible in his hands. He knew that he had been a part of something extraordinary, something that would be remembered long after he was gone. And he knew that, in the end, he had made the right choice. The diamond had brought him wealth and fame, but it was the snake that had taught him the true meaning of value, the importance of respecting the natural world and all the wonders it held. As Ethan looked out over the vast expanse of the forest, he couldn't help but smile. He had always known that there was magic in these woods, secrets waiting to be discovered by those with the courage and the vision to seek them out. And now, thanks to a chance encounter with a diamond-studded serpent, he had become a part of that magic, a guardian of the wild places and the creatures that called them home. It was a responsibility that he would cherish for the rest of his days, a legacy that he would pass down to future generations. And he knew that, no matter where his adventures might take him, he would always carry a piece of that magic with him, a reminder of the incredible journey that had begun with a single impossible stone.